special question. Oh, Rihanna. Oh, Rihanna. Rihanna, you have terrible handwriting. Yeah. Horrible. Come up here and bring your chair with you.
Oh boy, it's Rihanna and Charisse, and it's the kRoB moment.
It is a kRoB moment.
During the kRoB moment. For the kRoB moment. Now you can look at me, and I can look at you.
There it is.
As I answer your question. During the kRoB moment.
Right there.
You're going to like the kRoB moment. During the kRoB moment.
Okay, I have the question here, and here I want you to help. We're gonna help to. We can answer your question, but we have to make sure that you can understand it. I want you to drink this.
Can't smoke, but you can drink. But how about breathe? Can you breathe? Time to breathe.
Salted arms with marshmallow, toasted almonds, and peanuts on top.
Breathe deeply of this mixture, which withstands
When I get stumped, I win after all.
entropy and the clock's advancing hands.
Okay, ready?
Give a little shot of whipped cream to it, you like them.
Take a deep whiff.
Go ahead and just breathe. Just breathe, okay? Okay. And I want you to, we're going to ask this question. I want you to look at Hal, and Hal's going to answer the question for you, okay?
Look into my eyes.
Here's the question.
I will answer you.
What is the difference between khakis, tan, beige, camel, etc., and should I associate with one who really gives a shit?
But they do differ. And
What's
you are
that?
a specialist in camel fiber and fur.
Camels.
You will appreciate
Camel
this distinction. But other
What's
people
the
will
difference?
not. Because coming near the mark is as good for them as answering the question succinctly and precisely. However, who ever heard of an army wearing camel? No, you have to wear khaki in the service, and that is all. I've got to tell you that these are distinctions that can only be represented by minutely differing color swatches. If these swatches are handy, you can appreciate the difference. If they are not, you can only imagine the difference. How can you imagine the difference? By thinking of the things that give their names to these colors, of course. Think of a camel. Look at that camel in your mind's eye. Now, what color is that camel? Well, that's the color that we call, oh yeah, camel. And how about, you know, the black and tans? Those British soldiers, the thin red line? Sure you do. Think about them for all the good it'll do you. Yes, you need the swatches. Thank you. It's there, and it's been there all along, waiting for you to discover.
I'd like to get this out of the way.
Sure.
This is a Walter Sobchak.
Sure.
I have a bag of coffee for you, Walter.
This is the dumbest question yet? Ever?
This is it.
Okay, what is this allegedly dumbass question?
Do you see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass?
And the coveted bag of coffee award goes to Ask Dr. Hal's own David Capuro, asker of tonight's dumbest question. But you know, what one can see depends on how much trouble one takes to see it. The internet is mostly about pornography anyway. I surely don't need to tell you that, David Capuro, since you have provided us with so many stimulating images throughout the duration of our long-running show, now in its 16th year.
Holy shit!
David Capuro, this is your moment, and do enjoy the coffee. And give me another. Oh, thank you.
The question is,
Yeah.
how does siphoning water work?
That's a pretty good question. How does siphoning water work? I suppose. What was that, chicken?
How the fuck does that work?
Well,
I mean, siphoning gasoline out of a tank, that we all know. But how does siphoning water work? I mean,
well, when you're siphoning water, it's easier than siphoning gas because if you suck a little water into your mouth, it's not as bad as sucking gas into your
I've
mouth.
never done that.
You know, but why does siphoning work? I'm sure everybody here knows what siphoning is. There's no need to explain what siphoning is there? Well, let's just say that if you have a long tube and the end of the tube is lower than the beginning of the tube, then the water wants, so to speak, to flow through the tube from the upper to the lower reservoir. However, it will not start the cycle of siphonage without the valuable addition of something else.
One second. I got a side note here.
I didn't finish.
Well, it's important that we do the side note right now. The sponsor said that the question is
They're
terrible.
siphoning gas out of your car right now. Is that what you're saying?
No. The questioner is from the person who sponsored the question, and she says that the question is terrible and she wants 50 cents back.
It's too late. It's like your Scrabble move. Once you put your tiles down the board, it cannot be rescinded or revoked.
So what were you
But
saying?
perhaps you could ask us a 50-cent question, and then we might give you a bargain, give you $1 worth of an answer. But in these latitudes, the atmosphere exerts a pressure of 16 pounds to the square inch. This pressure moves throughout the siphonage apparatus. But if it is increased at one end, which can be done by decreasing it at the main end, the flow will take place. By continuing to replace the waters of the upper reservoir, the siphonage process can be continued indefinitely. And what fun it is to do that, to make it flow through your collection of tubes and glass bottles and so on. I myself have spent many hours puttering around in the old lab doing just that. Yes, once the world of siphoning opens up to you, you won't want to stop siphoning. You'll think about it before you go to bed at night and when you wake up in the morning. And all I can say is, the wonderful world of siphoning can beckon to you like the arms of a loved one or the promise and presence of the sunrise. You are fortunate among created beings for knowing how to siphon water and even gas out of a tank, which is useful.
Yes.
Oh, boy, I've got my own NASA bookmark.
I can't believe that we've been doing this show for 16 years. As a matter of fact, I can't believe that you've been watching this show for 16 years, which is more miraculous.
Well, now, you folks at home, you shut-ins, are listening to this show. And may you listen for another 16 years more. Yes, sirree.
I don't know if I have 16 more years of this show in me. We may have to, get like a new joke. Like at least one new joke.
You know, we've got ideas, we've got plans. Stick around. Yes, Dr. Hal Show is in its infancy. We plan to develop and evolve. You won't recognize us when we get to the end of our journey. That music means it's time for a little something or other we call the speed round.
It's true. Here it is.
Here we go. This evening, I saw the 12 Galaxies guy by the Old Navy downtown with a Latin squid sign. Question, is this effective advertising? Not for 12 Galaxies. Right. Would you rather die doing something you love or live doing something you hate? I'd rather live doing something I love. Right. That's right. If John Donne and Alexander Pope got into a switchblade fight, who would win? Not the iambic pentameter guy. Right. Alexander Pope was disabled or differently able. Speaking of differently able, how often do girls jack off? Whenever they find the opportunity. That's correct. When I'm at home and alone with my dog, and I start laughing really hard at something, he looks at me quite worriedly. What do you think is going through his head at these times? He's wondering if that noise would stop if he ripped your throat out. Is there any gold in the San Francisco Mint anymore? There certainly is, Pilgrim. Good luck getting it out. What's the deal with the Jim Rose poster being relocated on stage? It's creeping me out. It's located because it can be put near the stupid question light. That's where the gym rose. Why is this one blank? Because someone forgot to fill it out. Too soon? Never.
Holy shit.
Yes, 3 billion years ago, the moon broke off from the Earth. Oh, too soon. See, it all depends. If you're a super sensitive, nervous Nelly, you can't make a joke about anything. That's not the way we are here. Yes, Dr. Hal Show. We'll make a joke about your beloved partner's recent demise. Yes, we'll do that. But only, of course, in the spirit of good, clean fun and competitive contention. Yes.
The problem is they're the same jokes. We don't have any new jokes.
We disguise them a little bit and then we send them back.
Is it 2 parts?
Yeah. Oh.
The smoke pot guy did not laugh.
There he goes. It was a delayed reaction.
He was spacing out. He doesn't even know why he's laughing out.
Not to worry.
Smoke pot guy, I did this question is in 2 parts thing. Here, watch. Watch me. Watch. Ready? Shh. Watch.
Wonderful, isn't it? Just wonderful.
Let's see if that works. Let me try it one more time. Hold on.
Do it again.
Why does deja vu feel so real?
Your sensations are as real as anything else. They electrochemical events that occur. They are part of the fabric, the warp and woof of this universe. Just because you may not be satisfied with the way they represent reality, you doesn't mean they aren't real. Doesn't mean they don't occur. Yes, I think you need not worry on this score. But that still leaves us with the question of deja vu. The sensation that one has seen something before, even though one has not. Are you sure you have not seen it before? Perhaps you have. And the memory is not strong enough to rise to the placid surface of your memory. But on the other hand, it is, as I say, a mental event. And it is coupled with another mental event, also found in the bicameral mind. And that we call jamais-vue. The sensation that what you're seeing is something you never held easy for. Even if it's part of your daily life, suddenly a feeling of unfamiliarity can come over you. It's just as real. The feeling is real. Your interpretation of it is entirely apart from whether something real has happened. The question is, can you make anything real out of it?
That's a fact. And there's a photograph right there of that thing that's over there, right there. That's for you to stereo. For you to have that twice. Over here and over there. So if you like kRoB, you can have him. Yes, frankly, I'm fucking done.
Just say he followed you home.
You can listen Thursday nights here at Radio Valencia
On the kRoB show.
It's called Stimulus Regression Therapy. And, programming. It feels like therapy. It's more like
it is. It's highly therapeutic.
And kRoB is also part of the nose hair lint gland show on Wednesday nights.
From Dr. Fiasco and Pete Goldie and many of your favorite radio personalities.
Unfortunately, this last week was their final broadcast. So
it was? What's that
they're
all
all the
about?
final broadcast.
What's that all about?
Well, that's what they call it. They call it the final broadcast.
Well, that's right. Each one is the last,
Yeah,
the final
it's kind of a reverse marketing thing.
I get it.
They don't.
You get
The
it?
show is
I
so
don't want
bad. It doesn't hardly need reverse marketing, actually, which is kind of confusing in a way. I have one last question, ladies and
The
gentlemen.
last question.
Okay. Of course, Dr. Hal's here to answer your questions. My name is Chicken John. Our last question of the night. You want to do the last question thing?
Yeah.
You're supposed to say the last question.
This question is the last question.
You always done that every night, the last. And you
I
always,
said it before and you weren't listening.
I missed it.
But this is the last question.
I just want to know what the smoke pot guy is looking at on his phone right now. What is it? Tell me. What is it?
Rank pornography.
Was it the yellow pages online? What was it? Because you were baffled and mystified by it. You were looking at it like it was. The show got all fucked up. It's back. The show got all fucked up. It's back. The show is back. Our last question. Here it is. Here it is.
No further fooling around.
Speaking of the Amish.
All right. Well, let's talk about Christmas. And I'm going to do a Christmas poem. Not that I'm into Christmas at all, or care about it one way or the other. Christmas is for the kiddies. And of course, it does celebrate what the Christian religion has that others don't. The little Lord Jesus asleep in the hay. They've got that baby. Other religions don't. Well, that's the way it is. And so, our Christmas poem, the closing of this episode of the Ask Dr. Hal Show, by T.S. Eliot, called The Journey of the Magi. A cold coming we had of it, just the worst time of the year for a journey, and such a long journey. The ways deep and the weather sharp, the very dead of winter, and the camels galled, sore-footed, refractory, lying down in the melting snow. There were times we regretted the summer palaces on slopes, the terraces, the silken girls bringing sherbet, and then the camelmen running away and wanting their liquor and women, and the night fires going out, and the lack of shelter, the cities hostile, the towns unfriendly, and the villages dirty and charging high prices. A hard time we had of it. In the end, we preferred to travel all night, sleeping in snatches, with a voice ringing in our ears that this was all folly. Then, at dawn, we came down to a little narrow valley, wet below the snow line, smelling of vegetation, with a water mill beating the darkness, and 3 trees on the low sky, and an old horse ran away in the meadow. Then we came to a tavern with vine leaves over the lintel, 6 hands at an open door, dicing for pieces of silver, and feet kicking the empty wineskins. But there was no information. And so we continued, arriving that evening, not a moment too soon, finding the place. It was, you may say, satisfactory. All this, I'm telling you, was a long time ago, and I would do it again, but set down this. Were we led all that way for birth or death? There was a birth. We had evidence and no doubt. I had seen birth and death before, and had thought they were different. This birth was hard and bitter agony for us, like death, our death. We returned to our places, these kingdoms, but no longer at home here in the old dispensation with an alien people clutching their gods. I should be glad of another death. See you next week for our Christmas party.
See you later.
right. The answer is yes, yes, yes. The hottest thing in the universe is an affirmative.